Yippee kayak, other buckets. It's a bonus episode. We're talking Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Hit it. It was 2013. Iron Man 3 was released. Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 systems were released. And Jake Peralta got to live his ultimate 80s die-hard style Christmas. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me is a very special guest. It's my bud, Kevin, also known as Papa Kev. Kev, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great now. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here. I'm ready to get rad.
It's funny because even before I think I'd maybe only said like 2 sentences to you, but we kind of bonded a little bit over Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is the topic for tonight. And in fact, I think when you left work, I even gave you the Peralta Award, if I recall.
You sure did. Yeah, that for sure is the first thing that we ever talked about. I mean, we don't work together at all.
No,
we're in completely separate departments, but just in passing, we had like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference, and then it's been going on for about a year now.
Nice. Smart.
Smart.
Yeah, it was that, and then I think we started talking about Community and all sorts of other comedies that are just amazing.
Community is like, it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Me too.
I watched Community while I was at a community college, so it was
so it really
so relevant to what was going on. Subway took over TCC. It is the only restaurant at the Northeast campus, and I just remember watching that episode. And I was like, "This is art imitating life."
It really hit home. Yeah. I went to Texas A&M, so we had like, of course, Sabisa and all those big cafeterias. But I remember there was like underneath that particular one, there was like a Whataburger and a Chick-fil-A and some other things. And so while I never quite had that same, just Subway taking over, I did very much eat a lot at Whataburger and Chick-fil-A for like that year that I lived on campus.
Yeah, I ate at Subway quite a bit when I was there.
Yeah, I understand. I remember when I was in high school and a Taco Bell moved into our school. And I think I ate there like every day for like almost a year.
Yes. Oh yeah, back in high school. So I grew up in a very tiny school. Like my junior class was 5 people.
Oh wow.
So incredibly tiny.
Yeah.
And so that school closed my senior year to everyone's surprise. But it closed, so I went to a bigger private school, and they actually had like a cafeteria and food every day. I kind of went crazy. I mean, I didn't know what to do, but I just bought food every day, and it's not good to say, but I definitely had fries every day because I had no one controlling what I got, and no parental supervision, which apparently I needed in my senior year of high school.
Well, and see, that actually kind of reminds me of my brother, he went to Caltech for a year or two, and he ate pizza every single day, sometimes twice a day for like lunch and dinner. Ooh. And he came back with like crazy bad like heartburn. So
yeah,
ever since then, he gets bad heartburn, which is so funny. I mean, it's not really something you think of when you're eating it. You're just like, oh, I love pizza, let me just eat pizza. Or I love fries in your case. It's like, let's keep going. But in my case, at work, I mostly I have a lot of McDonald's. Just because it's there and it's fast.
It's the only place.
Exactly.
I mean, we got nothing.
Nope.
It's the worst selection that could be around.
I know. And it's not like we have a lot of time to go get something, but.
Oh, I know. I mean, 30 minutes goes by like it's nothing.
Yeah, especially when you're driving somewhere. It's like, that's like most of your time.
Half of your lunch is driving.
What are your thoughts in general on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Like, what's your history with it?
it was something that me and my wife watched a lot together.
Nice.
Seen like two times now. I think I know we watched it while she was pregnant again. Just a wonderful show. My friend Ben got me into it. He was always saying, cool, cool, cool,
Yeah.
and noise. And I was like, where you get this from? He told me about it. So I just started watching it and kind of fell in love with it. A lot of shows, their first season, it's super rocky. You're kind of cringy. You talk about like The Office. You're just like, well, you could skip the first season of The Office. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine, no, don't skip it. It's hilarious. The characters, they're still pretty well done. I mean, they get into more character later on, but
Right.
you really get to see all these people kind of play out throughout their years. And plus the Jake and Amy bet throughout season one
Oh, that's my favorite.
it's laying foundation for the rest of the show.
Yeah. That's totally my favorite. Like, so my wife, she got, and this is her fault, completely her fault. She used to have to like fall asleep watching something, like have to fall asleep watching something. And I was always like, no, it's got to be dark, whatever. Anyway, now it's to the point where it doesn't even matter, but I have to fall asleep watching something, which is super annoying. But if I'm going to fall asleep watching something, it's going to be something funny. So I usually either watch, 9-9 or the Goldbergs or Community sometimes, or, just anything. Psych is another one that I really love, and I'll just put it on and just fall asleep to it. And the one that I love to start on is season one, The Bet, where Jake actually wins and they go on their date. And it's kind of like that first real step in their relationship,
You just see the wheels turning with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I love it so much. The will they, won't they? And then of course they do. And it's amazing. They have their own. And in fact, you and your wife had a son the same time that Jake and Amy had a child.
Oh,
that's so
it kind of made me mad because they announced that they were pregnant around the same time that we did. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be pregnant together, and then it was like a month later, oh, they had their kid. It's like,
yeah.
Well, you know what? That's unrealistic. You know what? Whatever.
It's TV time. TV time doesn't count when you're pregnant.
It flew by, but I'm curious, like, was she pregnant in real life? Because I know that she had kids before, and you can see it in like seasons 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's when she became a sergeant. They kind of hit her stomach a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really did. And I mean, that's not new. I mean, they've done it in every single show. The Cosby Show, I mean, they used to like cut out
Office
in the mattress, so she could lay down and it looked like she was normal, but there was literally a dip in the mattress, stuff like that, hiding behind things. Same thing with the Lane on Seinfeld. And yeah, The Office, you're right. It's like all these shows. I mean, that's old hat. So
it was Angela and Pam in real life. They were both pregnant at this. I think it was at the same time, but they would hide them all the time. And Angela, she was such a skinny person that you didn't even notice.
I was going to say something very embarrassing about my wife, but I decided not to.
Hey, let's not do that.
I know better. I want to live, so I want to still be married. So I'll go ahead and change that subject. But for me, it was I'll never forget. So it was like the day or two after my daughter was born, the third one. Somehow I got like a crazy bacterial infection, and my aunt, who's a nurse, was like, stay away. You do not you quarantine yourself. Luckily my parents were here to help out with, the kids. And so my wife could focus on the new baby. But I mean, I was like literally in a room all by myself for like 3 days until the antibiotics could take effect.
So you were patient 0 of COVID, huh?
No, this was way before. This was like 2 years ago. If it had been 1, I might have said yes, but
2 years ago was 2019, Jerry. COVID-19. You're not helping your case, bud.
Ixnay. But yeah, so I was quarantined, so I was like, okay, well, this is boring. So what am I going to do? So I literally just turned on some TV and I started binging Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I loved it. And so then when my 3 days were done, I went back to be with my wife, and I was like, check out this show. It's hilarious. And she was just like, yeah, whatever. But now she's hooked on it too. So now like we can both enjoy it. But she's like, every show I bring to her, she's like that. Like she doesn't really like it at first. And then it takes like about a season or 2 before she finally gets into it. It's so annoying.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
The Office is my favorite show of all time.
Oh, wow,
I have
nice.
seen it between 10 and 20 times. I mean, I binged the crap out of it over and over again. And it took me 5 years of being with my wife for her to finally listen to me and watch it. She was like, "Oh no, I've seen an episode. Steve Carell's cringy." He's like, "Yes, he is, but you grow to love him. It's the greatest show." It took me 5 years to get her to watch my favorite show. And then, you know what? She liked it. Whoa.
Nice. Well, Tiff still doesn't like Community, like at all. She's like, "Oh, just watch your weird show." And I get it. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's super meta. And I mean, it's just not her style of comedy. She loves Parks and Rec. She could watch Parks and Rec like forever, but Community just no. So that's another one that it's like, okay, she almost asleep. All right, I'm watching Community now. Dungeons and Dragons episode. Here we go.
Oh yeah, there's a show that I need to get you into. It's called Letterkenny. I'm trying to get everybody at work into it. I got Brandon into it.
Nice.
It is one of the funniest shows ever written. It's so well done. It's about Canadian hicks, and it's so hard to just describe. It's 7 episodes a season. There's 9 seasons. They're 30 minutes long. It's super easy to just fly through. One of the funniest shows you'll ever see. I promise you.
And you know what? I've seen the commercials for it. Like when I think I was watching on Hulu or something. Or was it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
only on Hulu.
Okay, yeah. So then that's the one. And I said, okay, I'll check this out. And I just never did. It's one of those that, time it kind of runs away with you.
I've gotten Elizabeth into it. Brandon he's been binging it at the warehouse. He has it in his headphones as he's working. Even in today's meeting, I was quoting lines from Letterkenny to Pat today, but she didn't know it.
Well, I didn't either because I'd never seen the show.
Exactly.
Oh man, now I need a time machine so I can go back and see what you said. Yeah, so Brooklyn Nine-Nine had a couple of Christmas episodes. And why are we covering this? Well, this is a bonus episode, and the reason we're covering it specifically is because of this particular episode in season 3, episode 10. It's called Yippee Kayak, where they spoof Die Hard. And for all you listeners of my show, you know that I do not consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. I consider it an action movie set at Christmas. Or you can, quote Bruce Willis and say it's a Bruce Willis movie, whatever. But either way, that's kind of where I fall. And then, of course, I have the little feud there with Anthony to the podcast about whether or not it's a Christmas movie. And so because of that, I thought, you know what, I'll throw him a bone. I'm a nice guy. And so we're going to cover, we won't cover Die Hard, but we'll cover a Die Hard-esque episode, a tribute done by Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And so that's kind of the roundabout way of saying, all right, this is semi-80s, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, it's so funny. He says It's a Wonderful Life is not a Christmas movie, and Die Hard is. And so I kind of reversed those on him, and we just fight. But it's cool.
Well,
he's my pal.
I've actually never seen It's a Wonderful Life, but I've always heard it's a Christmas movie. I think people are just trying to be edgy when they say Die Hard's a Christmas movie. We know it's not a Christmas movie. It's an action movie set at Christmas time. We don't need to be edgy. Let's call it how it is.
Yeah, you know what? I don't get any Christmas feels from it, but I do get the "let's go kill some terrorists" feels from it, which is not. I don't know if I want those feels.
Christmas tree, put on some eggnog, and just watching Die Hard.
Some people actually do that. It's the craziest thing, but hey, to each their own, right?
Yep.
So the show, of course, started in 2013. It was originally pitched to NBC. They passed. Fox picks it up. It was done by Shore and Gore, those guys that have done Parks and Recreation and those kinds of shows. In fact, you can hear at the end of 9/9, it's Ron Swanson himself saying, Fremulon. They're
no.
Yeah, that's
no.
It's
not
totally
no. Oh my God. I just want to go around and tell at the end of every episode, me and Kelsey try to time it when they're saying that stuff.
It's just it's one of those shows that I just love them because you kind of know where it's going, but at the same time it can kind of take you anywhere. Like that episode, I think it's called The Box, where it's literally just Holt and Peralta and Michael B. Jordan's dad from Black Panther. I can't remember his name at the moment. And he's like the dentist, and they're trying to figure out if he's guilty. I think it's in season 5. And they're trying to frame it that's one of my favorite episodes. It's just a bottle episode, just them right there. It's so amazing. They're trying to break this brilliant guy And finally they break him at the end, with some trickery. But it's like things like that. You have that, then you have Diaz, Rosa Diaz.
Rosa
You
Diaz,
you have her and Jason Mantzoukas. I love Jason Mantzoukas.
Oh, he's fantastic.
And just their whole romance, and then they you think they're perfect for each other, then they break up, and it's just like it just goes so many places, from the main characters being thrown into jail to them relocating to Florida. It's just you can't really predict it, and I think that's what I love about it.
I mean, well, they're actually telling stories with it too.
Mm-hmm.
They keep storylines going. There's so many times, like I think of like That 70s Show, to where you could watch just one random episode. You don't really know what's going on, and there's not really a main story.
Right.
But with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you could watch any one episode, but there's also another story going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still good enough to where you could just watch one episode and not even know about that. And that's one thing that I found really awesome about this one episode. I said to Kelsey, this is the one episode that if you were to show somebody that hasn't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, this is the perfect episode to show somebody.
Yeah.
Because you get a taste of every character, and it has Die Hard references. So
yeah,
and it's super hilarious too. It's so good.
I do love this one. Maybe we'll play a little game later where we each try to just quote a whole bunch of stuff. But essentially, this episode starts with I think you mentioned earlier off camera, it was one of your favorite parts where it's just Jake and Amy talking, and Holt, their captain, played by Andre Braugher, who's like, just amazingly perfect. Stoic man, and he has this just stone demeanor. I mean, it's yeah, you're right. He's perfect. And he has a rule, like no gifts. And Amy, who's like the brown noser, no, not really brown noser, more like the teacher's pet kind of lady, she wants to get him a gift. And so she figures out a way how to get him a gift without him ever knowing it's a gift. So it's an unmarked package that says, "Open me." That she wrote with her non-dominant hand.
Looked like a crazy person wrote it.
And so, she's telling Jake, she's like so proud she figured out the way for him to have a gift. And he's like, wait. So you're telling me that you have this unmarked package that looks like a crazy person wrote it, in the middle of a police precinct. And then away,
was it like on a random Tuesday or something?
On a random Tuesday, yeah. So he walks out, bomb, there's a bomb, everybody out. Their cold opens are always amazing. Uh-huh. They have the best cold opens. But I guess if you want to nutshell the episode, essentially, it's that Jake forgot to get a gift for his best friend, Boyle. And so he has to do some last minute shopping, gets trapped, and terrorists, or not terrorists, but I guess robbers, crooks, thieves. What do you call them?
We can definitely call them terrorists.
Terrorists. We can call them terrorists. I'm down with that. Terrorists attempt to rob the department store that they're at. That's like the basic bottom line.
What a great sentence. The terrorists decided to rob a department store.
It reminds me, did you ever see Invasion USA with Chuck Norris?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Then I was just going to say, there's a scene in a mall where like the terrorists are going to like blow up a mall, and the guy, he has the bomb in like a bag that, you'd buy at Christmas time. And so someone notices that he left the bag there, and he's like, "Sir," and he's like chasing him down, "Sir," and it's all inside the mall. And just the whole vibe reminded me of that, because they're terrorists. They're in that movie, but like they, in this particular scene, it's just ridiculous because he's like running from the guy chasing him with his own bomb in a bag. But anyway, it just reminded me of that. So, Jake realizes that he hasn't gotten Boyle anything when Boyle comes in and gives him like this super awesome gift, which was special ordered from Syria, and I think it was called Heart Attack Soda.
Yep.
He goes, "Ho ho ho, Jake! Special delivery from Santa's elf. Merry Christmas!" And Jake opens it up. Heart Attack Soda. I love this stuff. Technically it's just carbonated fudge.
I remember hearing that. I tried just to process it with that even minute.
But it's awful. But the follow-up's even better, because he goes, "I thought they banned it." He goes, "Not in Syria. They use it to induce labor in goats." It's like this super personalized gift, and he just realizes that he spent all this time worrying about the perfect gift for Amy that he forgot to get something for Charles. So he asks his old friend, because they went to school together, they grew up together, Gina, who's like, I guess, the secretary or receptionist for Captain Holt. And so he asks her to help him pick it out. And so as they're talking, Boyle kind of overhears and basically ingratiates himself into that trip. He's like, yeah, no, I'll go with you. We'll pick out the perfect thing.
Well, he decided to do that because Jake said that he didn't get Amy a gift to spare Boyle's feelings.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he just overheard them talking that he needed a gift, and so he's like, "Ooh, we forgot someone's gift." He's like, "Yeah, Amy."
Who's like who's on your crap list?
Which we all know we do that last minute thing. Yeah, I've done it many times, but
that's why we got Amazon.
Thank goodness now. But yeah, so they're planning to go to the store. And their plan is to distract Boyle. And Gina says she's just going to ask him the difference between a skillet and a frying pan. And it works, which is crazy. It actually works because they are able to go, do that whole thing. But that's like the main plot. The subplot is that Captain Holt and Diaz, who's like this crazy, badass, awesome girl, she wears like the leather jacket. She's got the barbed wire in her pocket, all that stuff. You remember that episode? So they're going to go and do one of those polar bear type things where they go swimming in the ocean and, it's like freezing outside. And Amy, because she always wants to be included and, she doesn't want people to think she's not tough. They kind of set that up in like the first, in the pilot episode that she's got, I don't know, 7 brothers or something. And anyway, so she always tries to be tough. And so not wanting to be seen as weak, she basically also says, hey, I want to go. I want to go as well. And she says something like, I can't wait to dunk my junk. Did you catch that?
Yeah. Is it their reaction to that too? They just kind of stare at her.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would too, honestly. I mean, can you imagine if Pat or Elizabeth or someone had said that? I think we would have both just stare at her.
I actually hope they start using that terminology. Maybe when somebody brings someone something to prize, they're just like, hey, I'm just dumping my junk.
Maybe the world would be a better place.
I mean, you work right next to the bathrooms too, anytime someone enters those doors, I'm dumping my junk.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say to that,
but I'm going to hit you with that tomorrow.
So there's that. And then of course, I think the thing that I love about this is that they always weave the subplots in like pretty seamlessly. So then there's even another subplot. And they're usually juggling like 2 subplots underneath the main one. The second subplot is with Sergeant Jeffords, Terry, played by Terry Crews, he's just amazing. The dude is jacked. But he essentially, I guess the year before at Christmas time, he had his phone on and it just kept ringing. And it was like a cause of annoyance to his brother-in-law, who he hates. He hates his brother-in-law, just straight up hates him.
For good reason.
Yeah, I mean, he's a jerk. But, he's your brother-in-law. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you have something you want to get off your chest, Jerry?
No, I'm good. Cool. No doubt. But, so he's like, nobody bother me. I'm spending time with my family. You only call in an emergency. That's like his subplot where he has to go just be with his family. So of course, they're foreshadowing that, well, he's going to get called and it's going to be a big thing. But I love the interplay between Terry and Zeke. Is it Zeke or Deke?
I think it's Zeke.
Zeke, yeah, his brother-in-law, because his brother, I mean, Terry Crews is a big dude. I mean, he's like massive, and yet his brother-in-law is like even taller and bigger somehow. I don't know how. He's just like an even more huge human being, if that's possible, and apparently it is. He's like the Incredible Hulk or something. No, nothing. Okay.
Sorry, you took a sip of tea at this. You were talking, you just casually just threw me off.
Yeah, I do that. You just
no. Zeke, he does make Terry Crews look short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about muscle mass because Terry Crews is a freak of nature. There's
Yes.
only one Terry Crews, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny that it's like because the brother is so tall that he feels like he's more of a man than Terry Crews, which fight Terry Crews.
It's I think he even calls him Tiny Terry.
Yep. Yeah, he does.
Yeah. It's Tiny Terry need help opening his pickles. I can't do it. But I'm such a tenor. I'm not a bass, but I tried. So there's that. There's like that whole subplot. So Jake is there. Gina successfully distracts Boyle enough that Jake is able to go buy a present, and immediately he's like, all right, let's go. But Boyle,
so this is one of my favorite parts.
He just can't wait. He like rips the bag out of his hand. He's like, what'd you get? And he opened it up, and it's a cologne called Canyon Stank. What does he say? He says,
I'm a stank man, Jake.
I wear this cologne. I'm a stank man. So he's like, oh, I never noticed. Of course, Jake is just lying at this point because he knows that the gift is actually for Charles. He's like, I never noticed. I guess subconsciously I just wanted Amy to smell more like you. And Boyle, he's like, coming on a little strong there, pal.
Which is a lot for Boyle to say.
Exactly, because Boyle's the one that's usually like, when are you guys going to get married? Or as soon as they get, like, they first start dating, and he's like, get her pregnant. Let's have some more Jake babies. Yeah, I mean, like all sorts of things like that. I mean, he's just like all up in Jake's business all the time.
Even it was an episode or two afterwards, him and was Genevieve are trying to have a baby, and they're looking at donors, and Jake's dad is one of the donors. And he's like, my son could be your brother.
Yeah, there's friendship, and then there's friendship, and I think Boyle definitely pushes on the latter. It's so crazy because I mean, I've had like really good friends, but I don't think I've ever had a friend that would want my dad to help conceive his son.
No, I don't think I've met somebody as extreme as Boyle in any degree.
Challenge accepted. Yeah, no, I never have either. He's obviously a caricature of like a best friend, but still, I mean, I think that's what makes the show, because he is just kind of like this weird little guy.
He lacks self-awareness.
Yeah, he really does. But I think Joe Latrulio gets a lot of, or he needs a lot of praise, because I mean, he does that so well.
Yeah, I've seen him in other things, specifically movies, I think, and he's never a main character. He never has a lot of lines. Very forgetful. Mm-hmm. But in this, I mean, he's so cringy at some points, but like you just kind of love him, and it's really a role just for this guy, especially because he is an awkward-looking guy. So I mean, you couldn't put anyone else in that role, and it turned out so well for him.
I think he played Al Capone in Drunk History. I think.
Did he really?
I think so. Do you ever watch Drunk History?
Not in years, but I have seen it.
It's good stuff. That's another one that I think is amazingly funny, and my wife just looks at me like, okay, just come to bed when you're done. It's like, all right, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So yeah, they've got the Canyon Stank ready to go, and they realize that, like, because the power starts going out, and they realize that there are, people, or terrorists, I guess, are taking hostages from the security guards, and they're like locking the doors, and they even do the spray paint on the cameras and all that jazz. And Jake right away is like, it's a real life Die Hard. He's like, I mean, oh no, crime. He gets so excited because that's like one of the running threads throughout the whole series, is that Die Hard is his favorite. He became a cop because of John McClane, that kind of thing. So, but I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, if like my favorite movie were happening, around me, I mean, I'd be excited too.
Well, he faces crime every day.
Hmm.
So now it's exciting crime. It's fun. It's the crime he wants. So yeah, he has every right to be excited.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it's happening at Christmas time
At
on
Christmas,
Christmas Eve.
which yeah, that's what makes it so good because he desperately wants to be John McClane so much that in that one episode he literally just like bungees through a window for no reason. And so it's like the perfect opportunity. So he's all jazzed about that. Of course, they have Gina with them, who's a civilian, and all she wants to do, because she has a lighter, all she wants to do is go get some hairspray and create a
Yeah.
flamethrower.
It kind of you kind of forget that Gina is not a cop throughout the show because she's always there for several seasons, and you never realize that, oh, she's never at the crime scenes or the arrest. Like, she's always just back at the office, and then there's like, oh, we got to protect her, she's a civilian. You're just, oh, I guess she is.
Yeah, yeah, they just kind of look at her. They manage to call Jeffords and let him know what's happening. So he has to leave. Of course, Zeke nudges him a bit, jabs at him and, hey, Barbara Corcoran, or I forgot. It's like, he didn't even make me one of the good sharks. So yeah, he's like, get a job, Zeke, and whatever. Anyway, and he runs off to go assess the situation.
What did he say? Tired of hearing, I got things brewing.
Yeah. You don't have nothing brewing. So he runs off to go look after them. Of course, he alerts the other authorities, and so the place is surrounded. And who's in charge but the Vulture, another recurring character? Which I think my favorite Vulture episode is the one where he's like going to get married. You remember that one? And he's like got their
yeah.
He's got
like
their
a completely different person to her, kind of.
Yeah. It's like this charity. He's gonna marry this charity worker, and she's like this amazing, awesome person, and and he's just he's the Vulture.
He's a piece of crap.
Yeah, he's he's basically a jerk, and so anyway, he's the one in charge, and I love how he's talking to Jeffords, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in charge here." He's like, "See that sniper? He'll shoot anyone I tell him to. He'll even shoot you." And Jeffords is like, just looking at him, and the guy's like, "No, I won't." He's like, "Well, okay, well he'll sit on any roof I tell him to. Hey, go sit on that roof, guy." So yeah, he's there. He's assessing the situation, and the other time they're also trying to contact Jake. Excuse me, they're also trying to contact Amy and Captain Holt and Diaz because they know that they can help as well. In the meantime, Jeffords is stalling with them and trying to get it all done. They decide to they find a place to hide out, and Jake decides he's going to go do recon. Excuse me. And so he goes, checks everybody out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to call you Gunter," and I'm going to call
on his arm.
And he starts writing Klaus, and he starts writing Klaus. So then he's like, "I'm going to call you like Bjorg or something," and then he hears the radio, the terrorist radio's on. He's like, "Hey, Matt, check in." He's like, "Matt." And he's like all disappointed that they're not like German.
Yeah. And they were Canadian.
They're Canadian, yeah. When him and Boyle finally, they get some weapons, and they, which is like the randomest junk all around the store that they could find, like a mannequin hand and things like that. They finally are able to take down a couple of the terrorists, and they're talking to him, and he's like, "What are you going to do with this, eh?" He's like, "Canadian. Are any of you German? North Korean? Russian?" They're like going down the list. Greek? He's like, I don't trust the way Greeks dance. It's terrible. Oh man, it's such a great show.
Such subtle humor.
Yeah,
it's like you wouldn't ever expect that to be said, but here they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in today's climate, you can't get away with that, and somehow they get away with it and make it fun. Anyway, so they still haven't found the hostages yet. Until they finally hear something on the radio, and Jake pretends to be, he's got the walkie, so he's just kind of like, now he's literally like, John McClane, and so he pretends to be, was like, "Oh, I must have forgot about it." He starts talking in like a fake Canadian accent, and so they realize the hostages are in such and such place, the whatever corridor, and something like that, and all they know is that these terrorists have big drilling equipment. And so they assume that they're going to use it to drill into the safe. That's like their what they're thinking. In the meantime, Amy finally reads the messages. We get to that subplot where they're going to go swimming and they're doing the toast, and it's like freezing outside. And of course, Holt is all, nice and poetic and just this long toast. And Amy's just like, whatever. And she just drinks and runs. And she goes all the way to the tip of the ocean. She like has her feet in just a tiny bit. And then she runs back. She's like, no. Which is totally what my wife would do. So that hit home for me because my wife does not like the cold at all.
It was such an Amy move.
Yeah, it totally was. Just kind of punking out at the end. She
did it. She attempted.
She did. That's true, but not really.
Hey, would you say that's one drink, Amy, or two drinks, Amy? Because I think she took two drinks out of it.
I think you're right. Well, which one is two drink, Amy? That's the one where she's wildly confident, or is that the
Santiago drunkenness scale? That's perfect. Okay, one drink, Amy, is a little spacey, being out of touch with what's happening around her. Two drink, Amy, aka loud Amy, shouts everything she says. So I think that kind of lines up because she did come back screaming.
She did come back screaming, yeah. And then when she had to go back to get him because she finally saw her text, she screamed at him there too.
Oh my God.
She tells Holt, shut your poem mouth.
We're discovering the secrets of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Wow.
This is totally rad.
That's right, bud. Oh man. But I love when they're back before, she reads the text, they're back on land and, she's kind of complaining about how she punked out, and she's like, I know you're judging me. And Diaz is like, no, I'm not. I don't care. And Holt is like, I kind of am. He said, no lies at Christmas time. I feel like I have to start saying that around the store.
Yes.
As soon as someone says it, no lies at Christmas.
In the morning means no lies at Christmas time.
That's right. Yeah. Just see how they look at us. Tina would probably just laugh. So speaking of family, even though I'm going to cut the part out that refers to this, but I'm going to leave this part in because I think that's funnier. I like when Charles is talking to Gina and they're talking about it's the first annual Boyle and Eddie Christmas. And he says, are you excited about going to town on Daddy's nog? And she just goes, Christmas is canceled. Charles ruined it. He always says the most inappropriate things and doesn't even realize he says it.
It's so good.
I love the writers are like so brilliant. They're good at like using phraseology, to really spark something. And sometimes you don't even realize it. You're like, wait, what did he say? And you have to rewind it and then you hear it again. You're like, oh, he did say that.
Are any of the actors writers?
That's a good question. I'm actually not sure.
I can see like Scully and other guy. I can't remember his name right now, but I could see them being writers. Because I know in The Office, a lot of their actors were writers, but they had them in the annex. And so that's how they would get away with having the writers come back because they wouldn't have to be on film. And so, Scully isn't on film as often. I can't remember the other guy's name.
Hitchcock, yeah.
So I wonder if maybe they are, but.
Well, Lord and Miller are some of the producers, so I wouldn't doubt it if they had their hand in writing a few episodes as well.
Okay. Oh, wow. So I just Googled writers for Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Samberg, Andre Braugher,
Wow.
Michael, what's his name? Michael Schur, which, is the godfather to every great thing ever. Chelsea Peretti, Joe Lutriglio. Yeah, it looks like everybody.
Oh, that's right.
Like
Chelsea Peretti did. I think she wrote 3 episodes for it.
Yeah.
I recall.
It looks like Craig Robinson does his episodes.
Oh, nice. The Pontiac Bandit.
Oh
man,
that's another day. We could spend forever on that.
Songs to smush by.
Rosa.
Rosa, Rosa, Rosa. What's up, girl? I love Craig Robinson. I loved him in Hot Tub Time Machine. Like that.
He's good in everything, man.
That's it's like such a ridiculous movie, but it's like one of my favorite movies.
I get it. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I remember when it came out, and I don't know, I just something about it. Like I was like, this is going to be a great movie, and I've been known for picking like really bad comedies to go watch that are pretty terrible, but I like to go watch them anyway. And so my brother was like, "No, what are you talking about? This looks terrible." And so I finally convinced him, like, "Look, just go watch it." And he saw it. He was like, "That was an awesome movie." It's like, yeah, it's funny. It's the '80s, man. It's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. I don't know what it did in the box office, but
Probably not great.
it's such a staple movie. Like you can say Hot Tub Time Machine, and everybody knows the movie. I mean,
Hmm.
it's so well known. I mean, even people that haven't seen it, it's just like it's a hot tub time machine. Like everybody understands what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Chevy Chase came out in that as well.
Jerry Chase was in that.
Yeah, he was the hot tub like mechanic guy.
Oh, sure. Okay, so I watched Hot Tub Time Machine before I watched Community. I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Unhand me,
Yeah,
young lady.
that sounds like Chevy Chase.
I tried my best. What's an '80s show if you're not going to try your best to quote and imitate some '80s characters?
That's right. That's right.
So finally, Jake, they have a plan. They're going to use the vents, just like John McClane, but he accidentally drops the vent, and so they know that someone's coming, and so he convinces Boyle to go, and so essentially he gives up his John McClane moment to Boyle, and so they capture Jake, and they throw him in with the rest of the squad, or excuse me, with the rest of the hostages, and that's when we get the whole Ramon farting thing where Gina's like, Ramon has been farting for like the last hour. And he's like, it's not me. It's like, do you really want the last words of your life to be a lie? But they realize that since they have his keys, they already have everything from the safe, so the drilling equipment is to drill into the sewers, and that's like how they're going to escape. And so that's like one of their big plans. But meanwhile, Terry and the vulture have like a confrontation, which is essentially he picks him up and throws him in a trash can.
You remember what he said? Jake was telling him that like Tila Tequila was doing a show in Times Square.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so he tells him that he's just like, why was she blah 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 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, I think it's like in Madrid or something, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I follow Tila Tequila on Twitter.
And so he like stands up to him, and the vulture's like, I will end your career, and then you're gonna have to go be like a model or something, because let's face it, you're jacked, and I've always respected that. The vulture. But yeah, he just picks him up and like throws him in a trash can. Which I think later on even says like, do you think anyone will believe he threw himself in that trash can? But yeah, so the main bad guy who's got like a scar on his face, and Jake's like, oh, finally a real awesome bad guy. He's like, I hate cops, I'm gonna shoot you. He's like, oh, let's dial it back a skosh. And that's when Boyle jumps in and like saves the day essentially. And he gives the famous line. You want to say it?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
Okay, go.
Yippee kayak, other buckets.
It's like, oh, you got it completely wrong, but thanks.
No, I'm pretty sure I got it right.
No, you didn't, but it's okay. He ends up confessing to Boyle that I didn't forget Amy's present. I actually forgot yours. He's like, whoa, why didn't you just tell me? Oh, yeah, because it would have crushed me and ruined our friendship. Yeah, good call. And then we get a final like Die Hard scene where the bad guy's escaping, and Jake throws the hairspray to Gina, and she finally gets to create her flamethrower. But then she goes crazy with the flamethrower, and Terry's like, someone take her down.
The only thing scarier than Gina is Gina with a flamethrower.
Gina with the flamethrower, yeah. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention, the only reason she agreed to help Jake was because he was going to get her a picture of Terry coming out of the shower with the towel on. You got to do your bribing somehow.
And they had to negotiate that photo too.
Oh yeah. Because she wanted a towel off. And he was like, towel on, just coming out of the shower. Deal. Yeah, hey, if you're gonna negotiate a photo, might as well shoot for the stars, right? Might land on the moon.
Exactly. I was like, you've been talking to Stokes.
Well, he is my boss, so it
Yep.
kind of makes sense.
Yep.
This episode was seen by 3.82 million people, which is really cool, mostly among ages 18 to 49. So that kind of adds up. And it's considered one of the best Christmas episodes of TV ever, which is really cool also. Let's see. HitFix described it as the most overt salute yet to the genius that is Die Hard, and another reminder of just how much fun Brooklyn can be when it narrows its focus a bit. I mean, yeah, for real. I don't know what else to say. Sums it up.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, this is a fun episode, and I know I can go on talking like forever about it. But if you had to pick like your happiest moment of Brooklyn Nine-Nine in general, or this episode, like what would you say it was?
Okay, let's do. How about one for each, one in general and one for this episode. Let's do this episode first. I originally thought it was the cold open, but I'm gonna go with Yippee kayak other buckets, because God, I just want to start using that in my daily lingo.
That would be. I'd buy it.
And let's see, for just the entire show. I really liked when they got married.
That was
pretty cheesy, but
no, I love cheese.
I love seeing the relationships fulfill that way. So it was really awesome to see.
Yeah, and I definitely hear you, because I mean, like for me, as much as I love Commando and Predator and Terminator and like all these awesome action flicks, I'm a sucker for like a good happy ending romance kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So even those dumb Hallmark movies I like to watch, because you can just turn your brain off and enjoy the Christmas and the romance in it. And I was going to say, don't spread that around, but I guess I'm kind of spreading it around myself. So, oh well. But either way, same. Yeah, I completely agree. I love the bet, as I talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. But then the very last episode of season 2, where Jake and Amy kiss, like when they're undercover, essentially. And it kind of leads to them really kissing at the end. Like that one always gets me. I think really it's just watching this with my wife and enjoying it, I think has been like my happiest moment of the whole series. But of this episode, it's definitely, it's the dumbest part, but it's definitely the, I'm a stank man. It just makes me laugh every time.
The confidence he has when he says that.
I know. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. It shouldn't be there, but it's Boyle, and he always says the wrong thing at the wrong time. I always wanted him, my buddies and I, we did like if they could do a live action Rankin Bass universe, like the Rudolph and Frosty, Santa Claus, if they were to do like a live action Game of Thrones kind of style thing, I wanted him to be Hermie. I thought he'd be a good Hermie.
I'm picturing the monstrosity of the reindeers, how they would look. It would be so bad.
Yeah, bad CG can really throw something off. So hopefully it would be animatronic, like in Santa Claus the movie from 1985.
Yeah, I would be totally down for that, but they don't do that anymore. I mean, that's so rare. Even like Jurassic World, they were just like, hey, we're just going to CGI dinosaurs now. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about J.J. Abrams and his Star Wars, but I mean, he did a lot of practical, and it looks better. I like practical much more than I like CGI.
Yes. Well, that's what I was noticing when I was watching them recently. Is like The Last Jedi looked very CGI.
Yeah, I only saw that the once, because I was like, I'm never watching this again.
No, it doesn't get better.
So low on my list of Star Wars, I was like, no, forget
it. Me and Kelsey literally I said to her, hey, we both don't like this. Let's just try to watch this movie and point out the things we do like about it. We didn't name one thing, and like I feel so bad because I really wanted to. Poor
naive man.
I know. There was not anything I liked about the movie.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one. I mean, I think. No, okay, you're right. Never mind.
I mean, because normally you can say like, "Oh, I like the fight scene." Dude, that fight scene was so stupid. It's like Snoke's is a stupid character. He's irrelevant now. Now we got some red ninjas that are with him, and this is all dumb.
Which I posted the other day on Facebook. It was like a sword master, like an official sword master was rating like different movie sword fights. And when he got to this one, he was like, yeah, this just isn't technique. This is all just for spectacle. And so he's like, because I like to watch it, I'll give it like a 6 or 7. He's like, but as far as sword technique at all, he's like, it's like a 1 or a 2, something like that. It was bad. So I know what you mean. I mean, he and the cool thing is the Swordmaster was like, I love watching Yoda fight. So he even liked the prequels, you know, in Revenge of the Sith. He even liked that part, but just what's his name? Ben Solo and
Rey.
And Rey, yeah, I couldn't think of her name.
Kylo Ren.
Ren, there you go, yeah. Kylo and Rey, he was like, nah, I'm not having this.
You know, they fought each other in The Rise of Skywalker, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Well, even in the first one, first of the new trilogy, at the very end, when I think that's like the most raw, most real kind of fight, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just them. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just kind of like swinging it around. I mean, nothing fancy, none of the flashy spins or anything. It hits perfectly to me.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader from the first one, you know, nice and slow and just kind of, but I guess he was getting up in age. I don't know.
He hung in there.
He did. He sure did. But now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little bit I like to call gag me with the spoon. So this is where we do our best impression of our least favorite part of the show. And it could be something, nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be something we hate, just something we didn't like as much as the others. And I'll put it up on social media. I'll let the people vote. And winner will get a totally rad Christmas sticker, unless I win, in which case I get nothing. And but don't worry, I haven't won yet, so I think you're pretty safe.
I'm gonna take the L.
I had a friend who tried to tank it on purpose, and he still won. So I think you're pretty safe. But yeah, I'll put it up, and as the guest, I'll let you go first. Just kind of set up the scene that you're going to do for us.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how to imitate it, but what I really just didn't like was it's not because she did a bad job. It's just Amy is so cringy to me at sometimes.
Yeah.
When she just wants to be in everything that's happening, she didn't want to do this little polar bear plunge or whatever it is.
No.
But like she's just so ready to do it. She wants to dunk her junk.
Such a good line.
Yeah, so the entire time I'm just like, I know what's going to happen. I don't want to watch it because that's just Amy. Like,
yeah.
It's like when she tries to be cool, she gets so awkward. So yeah, she just she takes a couple sips and she's like, let's do this, and just runs to the water and comes back.
It's good. It's good. Mine is actually kind of similar. This is when Rosa and Holt are talking, and Amy kind of invites herself, and she's like, I don't mind getting a little chilly. And so I'm going to do my best Captain Holt here. So you're going to have to excuse me, but we'll see. He goes, it's not chilly. It's as cold as the waters of Cocytus, the frozen lake of hell. And really, I think I liked it. It's just, come on, Raymond, a little over the top there.
That's how he is. So when he's passionate about something, it's like to the extreme.
Like when they're all on night shift and he's trying to cheer everybody up, and he puts on some John Philip Sousa music. He's like, it's Sousa. He's the Skrillex of his day. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, he's like, why is nobody dancing? I specifically requested it. That kind of a thing. I mean, Andre Braugher is just a genius, and everything he is, he's so amazing. I think he even played the voice of Darkseid in like the animated series. It's like one of the movies.
Really?
I think the Batman, the Supergirl one. I think that's the one.
He has a good voice for that.
Yeah, he really does. So yeah, all right, listeners, who did it better? But it does make me want to ask, G.I. Joe, they taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is?
Oh, I had something I was going to say, but I remember you said it was a family show.
Just do your best.
Women.
Yep. That's good. Mine is better than mine. Mine is if knowing is half the battle, the other half is not robbing a department store if your name is Matt. Just
hey, how about not using your name over radio?
I know, right?
Store.
Or anybody could pick it up. What if the hostages have been hearing? We're listening in,
what if somebody nearby was on the frequency? It's not.
It's so ridiculous.
These are the plot holes in this show, man. I'm telling
you. We're gonna take it down piece by piece.
Cancel Brooklyn Night. Oh.
I know. Well, one more season of 10 episodes. That's okay.
Hey, they were canceled before, right?
That's true. You never know. I'm still waiting for that hashtag end a movie for the Community. They got their 6 seasons. Oh man. Kevin, it's been fun talking with you.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Any final thoughts?
Watch Letterkenny.
Okay, I was going to ask you what do you want to plug, but I think you just did. So,
yeah, I will plug Letterkenny anywhere. Yeah, I don't really have anything to plug.
Not yet.
Not yet. I want to start a podcast.
I've heard some things are brewing. Yeah,
my things are brewing. We have talked about it at work.
Yes, we have. I
think it'd be fun.
Talk About Stuff podcast.
Talk about stuff. Where we talk about stuff.
Do you talk about stuff? No, we talk about things.
Is it that Walking Dead line?
Midpoint twist.
What did you ever watch The Walking Dead?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, it's the main character. He's like, we're doing stuff here, Lori. Things.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up my show. Oh man. But yeah, thanks again for coming on. It was a lot of fun.
I appreciate it, man.
And I'm going to end it by saying, I'm so scared you won't let me make a flamethrower and use it to throw flames. So check us out on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're feeling like Gina brandishing a homemade flamethrower, leave us a review on iTunes. Not only does it help us reach more people, but you also get a free sticker. Now, don't forget to vote. Later, dudes.